What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 8 of the I Gotta Speak on It podcast. I am your host, Miss Sine, and on this segment, I will be discussing what it's like to be an entrepreneur with some beautiful lady bosses. My first guest, founder of Warrior Body Spa, Green Queen CBD products, and host of Health, Wealth, and Womanhood podcast, Miss Aaliya Bashir.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming, Aaliya. And also joining me in the studio is Atlanta's premier brow expert and owner of Inga Bailey Brow Studios, Miss Inga Bailey.
Hello.
Welcome, ladies. Welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you guys here in the studio with me to talk about owning and running a business as a lady boss. But before we start, I'd like you guys to kind of let the audience know a little bit more about you and the businesses that you guys do run. Aaliya, I'll start with you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Warrior Body Spa is Atlanta's detox spa. What we focus on is helping reduce inflammation while detoxing your body in a zen, relaxing environment. So everything that we do has the benefit of detoxification. So we offer infrared sauna therapy, detox foot baths, ear candling, detox body wraps, some specialized massage therapy as well.
Mm-hmm.
We have LED therapy for massage. We also have T&J therapy, lymphatic drainage massage. So it's a little different from a traditional day spa where you would get your facial and then kind of feel fluffed and whatever the case may be. We really help clients reach their health and wellness goals, and we really help trigger the elimination of inflammation and also the elimination of toxins. And Green Queen CBD products, that they also help reduce inflammation.
Okay.
So with those products, it's CBD, which is the non-psychoactive cannabinoid of the cannabis plant that helps you reduce inflammation and bring your body back to homeostasis.
So it's not like just smoking weed.
Not at all. Not at all. So that's the THC part.
Okay.
But then also Health, Wealth, and Womanhood, that podcast, what we do is we talk about what it's like to be a woman, our entrepreneurial journeys. I co-host it with Usha Reyes, who I work with on a few other platforms. And we have kind of different point of views on so many different things.
Okay.
So it's really great to have that sounding board and also an outlet for us to express ourselves, because it can be pretty lonely being an entrepreneur. And she's also a mother. So it's just one of those things that allows us to kind of bring it all full circle and continue to support each other.
Awesome. What about you, Inga?
Yeah, so I'm Inga, and I am the owner of Inga Bailey Brows, Brow Studio, and it's just that, simply a brow studio. So what I do is I do not implement other brow trends that are normally out and about. So what I focus on is healthy brows. So getting the brows back to where they should be after clients have either had them butchered or just misshapen. So I focus on brow shaping and properly getting the brows shaped according to the bone structure of the face. So clients who are just either they don't know if their brows, where their brows should be, or they're either, a lot of clients also are like, well, one brow's different from the other. I really break down exactly what's going on with their brows, where they should be, and how we're going to get them there. So clients come in with maybe holes or things missing in their brows. Instead of going to microblading, I educate them on what microblading is and why either they shouldn't have it, or if they should, we go the proper route. But I do not offer those services just because my philosophy is healthy brows and creating brows, getting them as healthy as possible.
Right. So microblading, in your opinion, is unhealthy? Is that what we're
yes.
Okay.
Just from the way the way
I know it's a big thing right now.
It is, and over time, like right now,
it's a trend.
Hasn't been. Yes, it's a trend. And right now, there are many people who have had probably more than 3 or 4 sessions. But after a while, if you're going to keep getting microblading, you're getting those slashes and cuts in your skin over and over and over again. That can't be healthy for your brows. It's not.
So, is it even healthy for your skin?
Yeah.
It wears the skin down eventually over time. I mean, people are like, oh, but it's superficial. It's deep enough to create a scar, because eventually your brows scab up. The scabs have to fall off. You have to go back in for the touch-ups. And it's just like, it's, to me, it's like, that doesn't make sense.
What about
you
people
know?
with like keloid skin? Cause like
Right,
I can't.
so that's
I have
another
keloid
issue,
skin.
yeah, that's an issue. Women who have, iron deficiency, cause the ink is an iron-based ink, and then they're wondering why their brown brows are now blue.
Oh.
The iron, your body is drawing the iron out of the ink, and it changes colors.
You guys come see me get those toxins
Oh,
off.
right. See, it goes hand in hand in business. It's business.
Yeah, so I just stick to, okay, let's get your brows to grow. No, you don't have to buy a $200 serum. Go get you some castor oil,
Yes,
put it on the
castor oil.
brows, massage the brows, nourish the brows, and get them to grow back healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say, I can probably count where maybe one client where it's like, yeah, this is it.
Right.
And for her, she was in her late 60s, had been tweezing since she was 12.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's over.
it was a wrap. It was a done
It's
deal.
over. It's over. The follicles are gone.
They're
It's
demolished.
done.
Yeah.
You said you had a question?
I do. So microblading, I thought it was like tattoos. I remember like back in college, my friend, she just had like super thin eyebrows, and she just went to the tattoo parlor and had her eyebrows tattooed,
Yeah.
and that was what she did. And then now it seems like the microblading, from like a little bit of information I know about it, I thought it was something similar, but something more targeted for your eyebrows. So I thought it was more permanent, not something that you need to do over and over and over again.
Yeah, so the a tattoo goes further down to the deeper layer in your skin. The microblading is more superficial, so after a while, after exfoliation your skin, rejuvenating, it will fade.
Wow.
So it's supposed to fade with maybe 2 years. I've had clients who had it done, of course. They didn't know me before they got the service done, and they were coming to me saying, oh, I had microblading 6 months ago, and it's gone. And yeah, so it's supposed to last about 2 years, with the exception of, not like tattooing,
Right.
which is more permanent. But yeah, it's
Even the tattoo fades.
Yeah.
Turns green.
right again, like depending on what type of ink is used and
Right.
what the body is what the body is in need of, and the body will get whatever it needs from
Right.
whatever
That's what
source.
it sounds like. Sometimes the body's trying to heal itself and get rid of it, and then
Yeah.
we just throw it back on.
Yep.
It's like the
Yeah.
body's like, okay, let me heal this skin and go back to what,
Don't
like
be-
you said, rejuvenate itself, and then we go, like you said, cut into it
Yeah.
some more and put some more
Ah.
ink in it.
Oh yeah, we need people like Inga because we want to nourish our own brows. We don't have time for that. Mm-mm.
And not to mention, it can be up to $800. So it's just
My
come on,
gosh.
just give them shape.
Thank God you're around, and thank God you're around, Aaliya, because then we could detox all that stuff out of our bodies too. We need you guys in our lives. So let me ask you guys, what was like the turning point that made you decide, I don't want to work for anyone. I want to have my own. I'm going to start with you, Inga. We're going to go back and forth. Because I like to get, those kind of answers because it's scary to, I mean, it's empowering, I'm sure, but I know like it has to be scary to go out there and say, I'm going to make my own lane and I'm going to run this whole thing by myself. Like, so what was your turning point that made you know that, look, I'm ready for this?
Yeah, I actually, probably like maybe about a couple of years after doing brows professionally here in Atlanta, I was working for a brow studio in the Buckhead area and doing great. Had built a great clientele. The owner had a husband who did, I didn't find out later, but he ended up getting fired from his job, and he was at the studio 24/7.
Okay.
And I was just in there like building relationships, and it wasn't. I didn't see them as clients. I saw them as like people who needed my service, and also let me get to know you so I can figure out exactly how I can service you better.
Right.
And just having organic conversations with them, and I built the clientele. He was not happy about the response from clients that they were getting from me. They were calling and requesting me like they should, because I'm building a business and working under you, your wife, and if I'm making money, she's making money.
Right.
One day, the owner, the wife, she went out of town for the first time since I had been working there for about a year, and so he was in charge. And that day, he decided to fire me. And so it was kind of like, I remember I literally felt like I was slapped in the face. So I was like, well, what's happening? And my coworkers around were like, wait, what just happened?
Right.
There was no explanation, there was no reason, and I sat around for maybe a month, I was like shell shocked.
Right.
So I sat around for about a month, and I was like, I gotta make some money. And And it was frustrating because at that moment I realized this person just took away my livelihood.
Yeah.
And I never have gotten fired before, so I was like, what is this?
The
You
drop
know?
of a dime.
Yeah, especially even before the firing, when we had a meeting, she was telling me how great I was doing, you know,
Right.
just want to follow up with you know how great, and so I didn't feel like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, I might get fired.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I was like, I have to do something. So I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I'll be honest.
Okay.
My family, some of them are just kind of like, I kind of want to do something. They weren't business savvy.
Gotcha.
But my cousin who does hair, she was more business savvy. So
Okay.
I kind of went under her wing and yeah, I opened up my first studio. It failed within 3 months.
Okay.
I'll just say that.
Mhm.
But even though it was so enlightening to be like, look, I can do this.
Right.
And I can, you know, get to the point where you know, I can make my own. There's no ceiling because shortly after my business failed, I started working for Anastasia Beverly Hills and Nordstrom. Did great again, great business, but I quickly hit a ceiling,
Right.
and I began to see my ceiling because I got a call from Anastasia, and they were basically telling me that this is about the only raise we can give you for X amount of time. This is it, and it was like, okay, this is great money, but you're telling me this is it,
Right.
you know. So, but yeah, that birthed Inga Bailey Brows, and there is no ceiling. So
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
And before I ask Aaliya her story, I just want to say you mentioned that your first business failed, and I'd like to say that there is no fail because actually that you just learned something else,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you kept going. So
yeah,
it's never a fail if you keep going,
Right, right,
So
right.
that's what's dope about what you just said because you didn't. Whatever happened that made that business quote unquote fail, you still, it wasn't big enough to
Right.
make you stop, you know? So
Yeah.
I commend you for that because some people take that L and that's it.
right,
They're scared for life. Like,
Yeah,
they'll never do that again.
yeah.
So I commend you for that, for
Thanks.
keeping it moving. How about you, Leah? When did you say, you know what, enough is enough? I got to do this.
I didn't have an enough is enough moment. To answer your question about that light bulb going off,
Yes.
me deciding I want to go in business for myself. I was in graduate school and I was going to graduate soon, and I don't know if I was meditating or what, or yoga, but for some reason I was like, you know, and I was working at this job that I did supremely well in. They sent me on trips, they gave me bonuses, doing really well.
You got a good story. Hold on.
I don't think there was necessarily a ceiling, but for some reason, the idea popped in my head. Every institution that I've been a part of, I must be making them a whole lot of money if they're able to compensate me like this. And it just made me think, oh, Leah, you have so much potential. Oh, you're so great at this. I felt as though people wanted me to be a part of their organization. And if I could do that so much for their organization, like what can I do for myself? And the first idea wasn't Warrior Body Spa. The first idea was like, what do I really like to do? And I thought about yoga. I thought about maybe like a health studio. And I just started to take notes and just try to figure out what would I have to take to get to that point. But that's when the very first light bulb went off. Like, I want to do something for myself. If I can put so much energy and produce so much for these other companies, whether it's school, whether it's work, then what can I, you know, there's nothing I can't do for myself. So that was that very first light bulb.
That's awesome. That's very, like, I have those kind of thoughts too. Like, anytime, cause I think like that. Like, if you're slaving away, and I hate to use that word, but if you're slaving away at someone else's 9 to 5, you're making that, the owner of that company is 9 times out of 10 just sitting at home or chilling or enjoying life while you're making them money.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So
I never want to talk down on jobs
Never.
because we need employees.
Oh, yeah.
I need employees.
exactly.
And it wasn't an abusive situation at all. It was great, but I just knew I could do more, and I knew I was capable of more, and it made me look into myself, and that's what I was grateful for in that moment. And then we can talk about the failures, of course, but that was the very first light bulb, and that was the first thing that was like, whew, Aaliya, maybe you can do something else.
And what you said is true because I've said that to myself. We need, of course, there has to be a workforce.
Yeah.
There has to be, because I always went into, when I go into my head, you know, my mom and my dad, 2 different people. I was only raised with my mom, but I still feel like I have a lot of my dad in me because he's like a serial entrepreneur. Never worked for anyone in his life. Always, everything was Cine Productions, Cine this, Cine Cars, Cine, like everything was his. Cine Records, like Cine Chickens, like everything. My mom was, I'm in the medical field, I'm retiring, that's it. Monday through Friday, not even Monday through Friday, whenever, holidays, whatever, but that was her job until she retired, and she was okay with that. I've never been okay with that, but then I got stuck in that for a while because I'm a parent, so it's like you need that stability. But then I was always like in my heart, like I have to do my own thing. Like I don't like always answering to people, and you know I want to take off when I want to. So, so that's why I've always been like. At first, I did look at that in a negative light, like oh we're not supposed to be here just working and dying. But I realized as I meditated and tried to focus more on who I'm supposed to be, I realized, you know, respect goes to everyone, you know, and everything, you know, just like there's a yin and yang, everything just works together. And so I totally agree with what you said. Back to what you were saying about you come from a family of entrepreneurs. So with that being said, like, do you feel like that is what put the entrepreneurial spirit into you that much, or?
I think so. As I said, they weren't as business savvy. I will say that. My mother was one of those. She's in the medical field. So she's a nurse, and she's always been able to make great money. But one of the things that I would see her do is, you know, do the pyramids, businesses and stuff. And I just was like, no, I don't want to do. I mean, I've seen it since the 90s.
Right.
My grandmother was very inspiring to me because she did not complete the 10th grade, but she ended up, my grandmother kept a spotless house. She ended up starting a janitorial business. And one of her first major clients was Barnes & Noble. And, you know, so to see that and, you know, just be like, okay, I have, you know, education. If she could do that, then I can do something greater. And then her mother, you know, of course, growing up, Jim Crow, you know, my great-grandmother was an educator. She got a master's degree, you know, and was doing, and then, but she stepped aside and started she did hair as well. You know, so it wasn't like, you know, that showed me passion because she loved doing hair, but she also wanted to teach. And so just to know that whatever passion you have, you can make money from it, but it has to be passion driven. It can't be dollar driven. So, but yeah, my family, I learned a lot from, and this is all my mother's side. My dad's side is totally different. But my mother's side, yes, I learned a bit from everyone. My mom, what I learned from her is to, you know, give it a try. Yeah, that's what I learned.
Did you realize this before you embarked on your own, or was this a look back at it type of thing?
It was more of I knew eventually that I did want to become an entrepreneur and I wanted to have my own. I will say I started off as a makeup artist, so I initially thought I was going to have like some maybe beauty bar, but I remember when I thought about that, I had to be like maybe not even 20, and I was like, I don't know, that seems so cliche, like there's so many of them going around, and I just was like, in my heart, I was like, I'm not sure. I want to do something in this industry. This before I became brow crazy. But I was like, I'm not sure. So I decided to work until I figured something out. Again, I've always been one of those people who I'm not going to do something until I'm 1,000% sure. So if I'm like, I'm not just going to jump into it just because everyone else is doing it. So I think that saved me because if I would have had a makeup bar, I would have been like cringing now.
But did you realize your family's influence until?
No, that was more, I think that was later on down the line. I think in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I probably got the spirit from them, but it was more so, as far as knowing what I got from which person, that was more so like, oh, okay, that was all coming together. So, yeah.
And I have a similar experience in regards to looking back at it type of thing. I never, if you would have asked me 6 years ago, are your parents entrepreneurs or anything like that, the answer would have been no. But about 2 years ago, I had another aha moment, and it was like, wow, I really am my parents' child. My mom, even when I was younger, she would make jewelry. We would go like to like shows and festivals and sell jewelry, and she would make hair grease, everything that you can imagine, right? And my dad I've never known him to just work for someone. He's had carpet companies. Right now he lives in Costa Rica. lives in Costa Rica, and he has like a yoga cathedral type of thing going on, and it's nothing that I never realized. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go step in my parents' footsteps. It was just looking back like, who are my parents?
Right.
And you realize like I really am my parents' child. But essentially, my mom is in the medical field. She's a nurse, and she works at home. She's a clinical coordinator and talks to patients over the phone. But the healthcare side, I definitely think that influence came from my mother, and I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. But my second uncle, who was actually my mother's uncle, recently speaking to him probably about a year and a half ago, he was telling me about our family and how we've started like the first black bank in New York.
Wow.
And that was a big deal. So that's another
It's a real
thing.
big deal.
We don't wanna don't wanna count ourselves out.
Yeah.
And what she was saying too kind of sparked the idea that representation matters, being able to see people do things, but you are probably on the bloodline of something great as well. So kind of look into that and see what you're capable of, or whose shoulders you stand on, because like Maya Angelou says, your success has been paid for already. So that I didn't have that like epiphany until after I started to wonder, who am I?
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. With that being said, when you guys started your ventures, how did your friends support? Because I have this thing. I know, right. So what I realized is it could be so disheartening to start something and you think your biggest supporters are going to be your friends, and they might be like, oh yeah, girl, that's what's up. But like, I realized that I had to tell myself, because I'm always doing something, right? So I realized that I almost had to train myself to not even care if they're, because I'll get support. It just won't be from the people that you think that it's going to be from.
Yeah.
So and it can still, man, I've even lost some friends, but we'll get back to that. But like, how did you get the response that you thought you would from your friends? I'm gonna start with you, because this is funny.
I will say, just before I start, this process showed me who my real friends were. And at the time when I started, I had a friend, quote unquote, and that I don't know, I was trying to make this friendship just like work.
Right.
And and before we met when I was probably not even 19 years old, and I remember and the circle that we were in, people would call her my mini-me.
Oh.
And, she went from not knowing what, she was a little bit younger than me, not knowing what she wanted to do with her life. And I was kind of not in the same boat. I kind of figured it out pretty quickly, at least what industry I wanted to be in.
Right.
And shortly after, I did makeup artistry, and then she wanted to do makeup artistry. And I felt like, at the time, I was like, that's great. At least you're figuring something out.
Right.
And to this day, she's still doing makeup, which is great.
Right.
But then I started doing brows, but I actually took the steps to get my license and all that. I went to school. She decided she didn't want to go to school, but then started calling herself a brow girl, whatever. Okay. And I kind of snickered at it, but I continued on. But when I started my business, homegirl never came to see where I was, what I was doing, and there will be moments where Facebook will tell on you. You'll say where you are, or whatever. And she was right across the street.
Right.
And I reached out and I said, hey, just why didn't you come over?
Right.
Oh yeah, I'm gone now. And, it was hurtful, because I would drive all the way from Dunwoody all the way to Hampton, Georgia, just to see her in her element. And at the time she worked at Sephora.
To show some support.
Yeah, and I could have went to Sephora literally like 3 doors down from Nordstrom where I was working. So, at that time I was like, I still was a little naive, but yeah, not one time. But I realized who my friends were, because I have a good friend, Sean Dozier, and this girl comes out.
Right.
She doesn't ask for a discount when she gets her brows done. She comes more consistently than some of my loyal clients. And if I have anything promoting my business or having to do with my business, she's there.
Okay.
So this entrepreneurship will show you who your true friends are. Family is another one. It's kind of like, I won't talk about family because I have to deal with it.
Right.
But it's the same way, and unfortunately, you may see you'll see jealousy,
Mm-hmm.
but people don't even know the work that goes into it, or and I feel like as entrepreneurs we do our best to look like we're 100%,
Right.
and
You have to.
yes, and I can tell stories from not even a year ago.
Right.
I'll look like I maybe $1 million, but guess what? My transmission just went out.
Right. You gotta keep it moving.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it moving.
Clients, customers don't want to hear that. They're there
Right.
for a service.
Right.
So unfortunately, friends and family think you got it, or oh, she must have money. No, I'm running
I
a
hate
business.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
I hate that. I've
Yeah.
so gotten, like, they'll look on my Facebook and I swear I have money.
Right.
You know, I'm okay. But I mean, I'm an adult. Like,
Yeah.
when you have it, you also got to dish it out too to your
Yeah.
bills, and the lights have to stay on.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I have to walk around and looking like a scrub.
Right.
We know how to fake it till we make
Right.
it.
I mean,
And
at least look the part. You
especially
have
beauty
to.
girls, beauty
Yeah.
girls. We know how to make a dollar store lipstick look like it came from Saks Fifth Avenue. We
But
know
if
how to make it
beauty
work.
is your business, you
Yeah.
have to keep your appearance up.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
And guilt can come with that as well.
Mhm.
That's true.
That
That is true. What about you, Aaliya? Like, have friends
support.
supported
So
your
at
business?
the very beginning, I was going through a breakup with my boyfriend that I had for about 8 years, and he was not supportive, and that was like towards the end of our relationship. At the very beginning of the business, like he helped bring stuff in, but when things fell out between him and I, he wasn't supportive. He was kind of annoying in regards to, why do you need 2 phones? Why are you working these hours? Meanwhile, when I was starting my business, it was part-time, so I still had a full-time job going on, so he
Right.
really wasn't understanding or giving me the support I needed for
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Then, as far as family, no, I didn't have any family support. And my mom's really supportive now, but she said, so when are you going to go to dental school?
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, well, this is what I'm working on. I'm
Right.
like, okay, so basically when you get done with that, when are you going to go back to school and finish what you we're going to start? And then a couple of people were, are you making money though? And what's plan B?
Right.
And things like that. But I really did have a supportive sister-in-law. She was like, well, when are you going to just do it full time? I was like,
Right.
really? Sure, you think so? She was like, yeah. And I had another friend, and I dealt with anxiety, depression, and even probably 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year into my business, like I still had a nervousness about meeting people. Like I would even sometimes wish people would no-show. It's very weird because you want your business to be profitable, because I want to deliver this and I want to make this happen, but it was still a fear that I had to deal with. So I had to deal with that, but what was very uplifting, which was very rewarding, was the customers, the strangers, who told me that this was amazing, look what you did for me. I'm able to feel comfortable in my wedding dress. I lost X amount of pounds.
Nice.
And that is what kept me going. So it was just Aaliya, and I was just figuring out how to, it was just me all day with my business. I was making signs, cutting flyers, doing the website, figuring out where to put free ads, what kind of tactics to do, putting flyers on people's cars. That was really it, and that was me. That was it by myself. And no, I didn't have any support from family or friends. And it was by the time they figured out, oh, she's gonna keep doing this.
It can support itself.
Oh, okay, so, but no, I did not have any help at the beginning. There was no banking support. I didn't even take that route. It was really just, I just was up all the time. But this is what I love, back to what you were saying about being passion driven. I mean, I was outside changing that sign in the cold, and it was just, it had to get done. There was no plan B to me, and it was something that just had to get done, and I was changing people's lives, so this was important to me, and it didn't matter who wasn't on the bandwagon.
It was your mission.
Right.
It
So
became your mission.
Yeah.
That's dope. I mean, I feel like, back to what I said, I lost 1 or 2 people, because when I was doing makeup, I find that your quote unquote friends try to nickel and dime you, and I reached a point where I was like, you want me to do your makeup at a discount, but that Louis bag, you paid a grip for, those Gucci shoes, that car payment that you're paying
or
for.
let's be real, the white girl who does X, Y, your lashes, you don't even ask for any
Right.
time. Let's just be real about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I found it disheartening, and it became disrespectful. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of, that wasn't the only thing, but it kind of pushed me out of the makeup game, because I was like, you get more of the, oh, can you teach me how to do this? Or, you know, you get all these questions that are just free. And mind you, I invested in myself. I went and got certified. I went to school. I did things, you know, to invest in myself, to be able to master my craft. And people want to pick your brain, and they want to ask you questions. The questions that I had to pay to ask. Right. But because we're friends, you know, you're asking me free questions, so you want me to do your makeup just because we're going out, and it was, or when you do want to pay me, you want $30, and I'm like, this is so wrong. Like, and it can really break up friendships. I realize, because once you feel disrespected, you know, it's like, how do I even continue on with this friendship? So I did lose, not too many, just one or two people, which, you know, it's not really a loss.
Yeah.
It's like you said, you get to realize who's who, you know, because like I said, I would notice, like, you can pay full price for this, but your friend who, you know, I'm a single mom, like, you want to nickel and dime them, or you want to ask for their discount when they're working for a retailer, and like, it's like.
And I think a lot of people think that it's a hobby, that we're doing a hobby. Like, this is my livelihood.
Right.
This is not, you know, what I do on the side. This is my livelihood.
Right.
You know.
And even if I do it on the side, I'm doing it on the side for a reason. It's income. So that definitely does show how supportive, quote unquote, friends can be. Would you guys say that there's like a blueprint to entrepreneurship, like certain steps that have to be taken? I'm gonna start with you, Aaliya.
No, I mean, the first thing and the hardest thing is to get started. People have asked me about, what about a business plan, about funding?
Right, business plan. Oh my God, and that's intimidating.
And
the business plan.
Get started. Like you were saying, you started and it didn't work out. You learned something from that. You decided what you wanted to do after that, and the thinking and that analysis paralysis, you will get nowhere very quickly. So really get started, because there's no way that you're going to know what you need to do unless you get started. And of course, there are a lot of regulations that are required depending on what industry you're in. So of course, no, don't just get started doing people's facials. Don't just get started doing phlebotomy. You know, there's things that you need to do some research in regards to, but don't like analyze it too much where you hinder yourself. If you feel like, oh, let me wait until I get $500. Let me wait until I find the perfect space. Let me wait until I find a web designer. Things like that you shouldn't be waiting on. You definitely should wait on what you need to operate your business legally and go from there. But in regards to a blueprint, I don't think you should necessarily have one. There are rules you need to follow depending on your industry. But the thing that I would definitely do is get started and maybe reach out to somebody who's done it. And then don't ask them, like we were talking about earlier, don't just ask them for information, ask them how you can help them. And in that process, you'll see what it takes. And then it's a relationship, building relationships. But I don't think there's a particular blueprint.
Yeah, I agree. There is no blueprint. Of course, everything she said, especially making sure what you're doing it legally. I do think mentorship is important. I didn't get a mentor until later on, but I'll be honest, it's difficult sometimes finding a mentor because everyone thinks you're a competition. There's enough X, Y, Z for everybody out here. I always tell people I remember being a guest speaker at a beauty convention and talking about eyebrows when I was with Anastasia. And they were literally a group of brow gangs. Like after I spoke, they had their arms crossed and asked me why I was up in, Dunwoody and Buckhead working unity service for people. And I told them, I said something. So I was very professional, but one of the things I said is, you know what? I just want to share information. Maybe we can learn from each other. Oh, no, because you'll take my clients, is what one woman said. And one of the things I said was, first of all, let's just be real. My clients will never come to you, and your clients will probably never come to me.
Right.
I said there are enough eyebrows for everyone. But
Surely
I
is.
mean, when it comes to like, blueprint, yes, mentorship is important. That's great. But one thing my mentor used to say all the time, and I say it every day now, is show up.
Mhm.
You gotta have faith, step out on faith. Yeah, don't wait for, oh, I gotta make sure that I have X amount of dollars before I start. I started my business without, like you did, Aaliya, without any bank support. I
Right.
still have not had used bank support.
Wow.
And now I will say is you're gonna have to scale back personally, because let me tell you something. Inga was a girl that liked to have a new handbag every month.
Oh yes,
new
Inga, I know you.
Yeah,
I know you.
I had to be frugal person, because it was like I was making enough money to do what I wanted to do,
Mhm.
but I wasn't making taking the steps to save or to put money aside for my, basically invest in myself.
Mhm.
Once I started doing that, I realized like, oh, I can actually do this. A lot of people also get afraid of, they're afraid of, oh, what if I don't make enough money to pay my bills, or what if I don't
Right.
make enough money to whatever. And don't get me wrong, I still have those fears sometimes, like especially when I'm changing or moving or whatever, and things are gonna shift financially.
Mhm.
But then I'll look back and I'm like, and I'm spiritual, but God
Right.
hasn't failed me yet.
Mhm.
And in the entire almost 5 years that I've been in business, I have not once not been able to pay my bills.
Yes.
It's been a little tight,
Right.
but let me tell you something. It took me, okay, you don't need that. You don't need those shoes.
Right.
And sometimes we have a hard time. We think that we need certain things, and half the time we don't.
Right.
So, and honestly, I've been learning that for real, within the past maybe year and a half or so.
Mhm.
But yeah, that faith, that determination, and just showing up. When you start the business, don't think, oh, well, I don't have any clients booked, so I'm not going to show up today.
Mhm.
That'll be the day where you have 3 or 4 people walking up and trying to look in your window, see
That's
where
true.
you are.
Oh,
So show
that's
up.
true.
I was driving my first studio. I was in Alpharetta. I was living in Henry County, Stockbridge, Georgia.
Mhm.
I was driving an hour and some change every day. And yeah, sometimes I'll be sitting in my room by myself.
Mhm.
But then people were like, hey, who are you? What do you do? And next thing you know, they were sending clients. But I had to show up.
Right. That's
Yeah.
true.
So
Be present.
Yes.
Be present in your life.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, so as far as fear, how do we push past fear? Because I know anytime you're starting something new, you spoke about anxiety and depression, and anytime I'm starting something new, oh my gosh, like I'm ridiculous. Girl, just anytime I turn record on this podcast, I'm like, oh my God. So how do you guys push past the anxieties and the fears and the self-doubt that plays in your mind, and just, show up and be great?
I leap towards it. If I feel butterflies and I feel like, oh, you probably would have done that 2 years ago, that I leap towards it.
Right.
Because I know on the other side is growth, and I'm gonna make myself feel so much better. But how I got to that point was because I had to visualize what my life would be if I did not move forward on those things. I let fear hinder me, and then what kind of life would that be? I would not be anywhere, and I would probably be sitting in a room like being upset or anxious for no reason. And there's too many examples of things going right when I've done that in regards to facing my fears.
Right.
But you like I think Aaliya says it, you have to have that moment where you feel like pee is running down your leg. You just keep going, because that much fear. But
I felt that.
it happens, and so people. Another thing I realized too is that people need you. In regards to the competition thing, even if we do the same exact thing on the same block, people are going to connect with me different than the way they connect with you. And I am a whole different being, and my energy is different from the next person's energy, and I have a contribution.
Absolutely.
So people need to see me, people need to feel me, people need my services. So I owe it to the community, I owe it to myself, I owe it to my unborn children, I owe it to the people, my ancestors. So I don't have the opportunity to sit down and do nothing.
Right.
Because I feel like I have to. And it's not the pressure type of thing, but it's, okay, you get to get up and you get to do this every day. This is the life you chose. So why would you choose to be hindered by something that doesn't even exist?
That's true. You have a unique gift to share to the world. So that's awesome that you notice that, because some people don't even realize that all of us have unique gifts to share in this world. That's why we're put here You know, we're not just put here to take up space, we're here to share our gifts.
Totally. And we think, and I know when Oprah has said it before, we think our calling is going to be some big thing on a stage. When you touch one person, that trickles down to every person that they know. So there is so much power in every little interaction that you have.
Oh, yeah.
So don't wait for some big old thing to happen or this huge opportunity. Do it in every step of your life, and that makes a huge impact.
I agree. What about you, Inga? How do you push past the fears and the doubts?
Aaliyah's answer is definitely much more positive than mine.
No, she didn't. Inga about to say because I think of the haters.
No, I'm still. It's a work in progress for me. I'll be honest. I just had this conversation just last week, and I'm constantly beating myself up over the head.
Mm-hmm.
I am I'm a perfectionist,
Okay.
and when I put anything out there, I want to make sure that it's done right and, everything's in order. And sometimes I'll do that before I even take the first step. Mm-hmm. And that is, if you're listening, that's what you don't want to do. Go ahead and just do it. It's almost like somebody push you off a cliff. I have to give a shout out to my boyfriend, Zane. He is he's also an entrepreneur. It's so funny because before I met him.
Zane that writes the books.
Oh, no. It's so funny hearing some people say that.
I was like, okay, girl. We got to talk.
But yeah, and I was always say, I'm never going to be with an entrepreneur. I need somebody who has a 9 to 5 because I can't have anybody doing the same thing that that whole entrepreneurial life. But when I met him, he's an attorney. He has a law firm with his father. So he has the same, he's an entrepreneur as well. So he has the same mindset, but on a different scale than mine. He always tells me just, like you said a little bit earlier, you have something that people need to hear, and I think honestly, when you have that fear, you need to find someone that you can trust, and to either, you have to open up about it, because if it's trapped in your brain and your mind, it's not going to go anywhere. Right. You do have to get it out, and even if you're writing it down, get it out. So that you realize, because a lot of times once I get my fears on paper, I'm looking like, girl, you crazy. Because a lot of my fears, really, really, I'm like right on the line of a great thing. Right. I'm right there, but for whatever reason, I'm just like, okay, I'm nervous. And you have to figure out what's causing that. Mm-hmm. And again, for me, it's my perfectionism, and I want it to go out perfectly, and that it's delivering the content that goes out, people get it. And this is more so in my instruction, teaching, but I just feel like you have to get it out on paper or whatever, and then realize, what would you do, kind of like what Aaliya said, what would happen if you did not do this? Yes. What are the repercussions, and how would you feel if you look up and someone else has done everything that you said you were going to do? Because there are people out there who have less talent than you do, but way more confidence, and they're out doing, and that's what frustrates me, is the reason why I'm kicking myself in the butt, because I'm like, you're teaching, and I sit in classes, and I'm like, you are the worst teacher I've ever listened to. I can teach this a thousand times better. Right. And it's just like, okay, then why aren't you? Right. So, so I think, you get your fears out, and then, ask yourself, where would I be, or how would I feel if I look back 10 years from now and I didn't do it. Right. That's one of my biggest fears. Like I said, I go through my anxiety when I'm venturing off to do something new, but that's one of the things I always tell myself. I know me, I will be infuriated with myself if I do not. It would scare me more not to try than to try. So that's one of the things I try to feed myself, to remind myself to be great. I have to tell myself, because I will beat myself down. And I've had times where an idea that I didn't follow through with, and I watched someone else do it, and I'm like, are you serious? And sometimes it happens right away. And I'll have a friend that I might have told that idea to, and I'm like, do you see this? And so this particular person, I call him my brother, he'll be like, lots of people are gonna do the same thing. I don't wanna hear that, right? I don't wanna hear that. They stole my idea. I don't know who told them this, but so yeah, you're right. Well, I think both of you said it. It's you can't focus on who's doing what and who's doing the same thing. And like we said earlier, so many different industries, you can say, oh, this is saturated. There's too many makeup artists. There's too many people with spas. There's too many.
but it's like you are a unique individual. They
Right.
don't have the same energy that you have, and we definitely, and I'm guilty of that. I have to remind myself that, you have to set yourself apart no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't even have to be in a competition, like,
Yeah.
it's just you're Aaliya, you're Inga, I'm
Mhm.
Rochelle.
Right.
We
Just
just,
think about the bread aisle.
exactly,
Yeah.
right, there's so many different breads, like there's
Right.
no name bread,
Mhm.
there's Wonder, there's
Yeah.
all kinds of different things, so, I mean, we all are here to make a contribution,
Mhm.
and that's that. So, I mean, in spite of all the narratives that are present today, I still feel like women business owners are gaining ground like never before. Would you guys say that?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
so I feel like there's a lot of women going into business. Do you think that, in your experience rather, has it been harder as a female entrepreneur of color? Inga, you can start.
Honestly, I don't
Okay.
think so. I really don't think so. I will say this. I've had
Because
some.
people use that excuse sometimes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Now, I will say this, and this is something I realized just a few months ago, is that I'm going to be real. There are some Caucasian people
Mhm.
who they feel like they can either support you because you're not going to surpass them. There's
Okay.
no way you can surpass them.
Mhm.
And you have to kind of, I guess how people say, be woke.
Right.
And I never look at that as make that a determination whether it's going to be my client or not. But I've had some instances in run-ins within the past year or so where I realized like, oh, they don't fear me.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm not trying to put the fear in people,
Mhm.
but I'm not even a source of like they would never look my way and think, oh, I gotta watch out for her.
Right.
So I have seen that, but because I've seen that, I think that makes me even more powerful
Mhm.
and to strive. But yeah, black women in this industry or in any industry, black entrepreneurs, there's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
No.
Yeah, I agree. What about you?
There's definitely no excuse, and it's something that I never acknowledged
Okay.
in regards to having a hindrance being a black woman, but it's something that I realized, realize looking back type of thing.
Mhm.
You don't realize what opportunities you didn't get until you realize what other people have had. You don't necessarily want to compare yourself, but for instance, things that kind of like blew my mind.
Mhm.
I was building my second location about November 2017, and I was getting work done on this building, and there were people that didn't want to help me get it done.
Mhm.
Like I was have contractors out here, and they're like, "Well, you own this building?" I don't think we do stuff like that. I'm like, "But you're a roofing company, asking for the roof extension. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you do?" We thought about it, and we don't do this type of work. So that's one thing. Another thing that what made me think when she was speaking was outside of people being racist that are not black,
Mhm.
and thinking I don't know how people have chosen to do business with us or not do business with us,
Mhm.
dependent on saying that, oh wow, I didn't even realize that this was a black business. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not sure that if that is a right. So like I don't know what you were particularly looking for,
Right.
or are you trying to give me a compliment because
Yeah.
like things were going so awesome for you that you didn't even think about it.
Right.
So it's like it's something that I don't think about a lot, but like I was telling you before, I don't know what it has stopped me from. Also another location that I had to go to like the mayor and across the board and get some things taken care of for permits and things like that.
Mhm.
And same thing. It's like you think that this is the steps that it takes. It's something that's difficult, but then when you see other people present to the board that haven't had the same situations or haven't been bothered about these same things, you wonder what went into those decisions.
Mhm.
So it's interesting. Of course, like I don't want to say that this is a hindrance for me, and I know
Right.
I'm not going to do well, but it's something that you kind of see sometimes, you acknowledge, and for that much more reason I need to make this happen. So like I said, I've never applied for like financial support, things like that,
Mhm.
or taken things into consideration in regards to that. But like I said, I don't know what opportunities were missed.
Right.
But I really did feel it when it came to me doing that rehab of that building, because it was like what you said, what do you do? Like,
right.
I spoke to this person on the phone, this is what I said I wanted done.
Right.
You came out, looked at the place, and you decided that this wasn't a good fit for what reason.
Yeah.
And it happened like 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
And it was interesting.
Right.
It was interesting, but it makes you wonder for what other reason could it have been.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
But it fuels you anyway to keep pushing harder because you know.
Right, because I got told no so many times, and it's just, I mean, I'm not gonna take no.
There you go.
So.
We don't take no. We don't take no. That's the best thing an entrepreneur can do, is not take no.
Keep it moving.
That's right. Keep it moving. That's my favorite thing to say. I gotta keep it moving. I gotta keep it moving. So, what would you say, Inga, to someone who's listening right now, who has a vision in their mind, but is scared to do it? What would you say to younger Inga?
Yeah, have tunnel vision.
Okay.
And have tunnel vision. Don't necessarily look for a path, because when you start looking for a path, then you're going to end up doing a lot of things that are already done.
Right.
Have organic vision. You have an organic vision, then just have organic process and a thought, and don't, like I said, tunnel vision. Don't look to the left, see what these people are doing. Don't look to the right. That's what I wish I would have done from the beginning. I probably would have started my business a lot earlier, but that more so affected and changed my philosophy of what I was doing and how I was doing. Because number one, I'm an eyebrow studio, and it's a very, very small part of the beauty industry. But there are so many people now doing brows, and honestly, they look the same.
Right.
Even when it comes to teaching, again, I'm struggling, but as far as my fear. But, I'm writing a textbook, and it's like, number one, there aren't any eyebrow textbooks out there. And then number two, the textbooks
don't give away the secrets.
No, I'm not, trust me. But on the text, if there is information, it's someone telling you how to do brows like them.
Right.
So it's like, I don't want to teach people how to do brows like me. I want people to understand how to do brows and understand the brows itself. So, main thing is to have tunnel vision. Stop looking around and see what everybody else is doing. Just do you, and then the next thing you'll know, you'll look up, number one, blaze the trail, and you'll look around, you'll have people behind you.
Right.
So, head down, tunnel vision, and just do it.
All right.
Yeah.
What about you, Aaliya? What would you tell someone who has a vision in their mind and is scared to put it out there into the universe?
Let the world catch up to you. When I started Warrior Body Spa about 6 years ago.
I love that name, by the way.
Thank you. The detoxing scared people. They thought we were like, I was, which is me, but I was helping people flush drugs out of their system, or like a treatment facility. They thought it had to do something to do with drugs or something like that. And it was a word that wasn't so mainstream, but now as you see, there's detox tea, there's detox water, detox everything, in every way in regards to health. So let the world catch up to you, because there were times when I felt as though, well, let me market another side of the business, send that way, push that to the front, so that way this is what people are familiar with, and just needed to let things catch up to me, because I'm a visionary, and what I see for the future of my business is God gave me that, or whatever gave me that. So I need to acknowledge that and don't dim it down. What you see to happen will happen. The time will pass. So just focus on that and make that happen. And I really could have made that a larger component. And same thing, wrote something about it, wrote a book. I just felt as though maybe you aren't ready for this. So I really would have told myself, let the world catch up to you, and go ahead and continue to be an expert in that, and continue to grow in that.
Awesome. So this is, before we wrap up, this is the time where I let you guys tell the listeners and the viewers, where your businesses are located at, and if you have any special people that you want to give your little shout outs to. Oh, and also give your handles to your businesses, if you guys have Instagram and Facebook and things like that. Inga, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I am located in Dunwoody, I am one exit away from Ashford, Dunwoody off Shanley, Dunwoody Road. All my information can be found on IngaBaileyBrows.com. That's INGABaileyBrows. There's not a Z at the end of Brows.com. My handles are all the same on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, Inga Bailey Brows. So yeah, that's how you find me. All information. I have videos, tutorials, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so everything. If you can't find it online, which you should be able to, then my website has everything imaginable about my business and what I do.
There you go. No shout outs? No? You good?
To my family,
Okay.
the ones who support, Zane and Sean.
All right.
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, Jane and Sean.
Yeah.
What about you, Aaliya?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. My handle for Instagram is Aaliya the Warrior. That's 2 A's like Aaron, LIYATHEWARRIOR. There's no H in Aaliya. The website for the business is warriorspa.com, and that's how you can find out more about our services. We have a location in Tucker, and also have the invite-only retreat in Brookhaven. So you'll see that information on the website as well, where we provide special events and like probably like little corporate situations, and also girls' night. So there's some lovely pictures there. So that was the building I was talking about rehabbing, but it is beautiful. And if you get to my Instagram, then you can see all the channels associated with me. So I don't want to confuse you guys. So you can either find Aaliya the Warrior or go to warriorspa.com.
Nice. No shout outs? You good? No.
Nothing.
She's like, I know some shout outs. So, ladies, I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know entrepreneurs are booked and busy. Got things to do, whether it's clients or just handling stuff for the business. So I greatly appreciate you guys joining me in the studio today. And I want to say congratulations to you both for all of your accomplishments thus far.
Thank you.
I wish continued blessings to you both. And to any of my ladies listening, I hope that you were inspired to take those visions and turn them into reality. Make it happen. I'm your girl, Miss Sine, and as always, I encourage you guys to turn your lights on and go out there and brighten someone else's day. Stay lit, y'all.